and I'm going to do the Brian bit, and then I'm going to hand over to Keith, and he's going to do the Karen bit. It is an opportunity, isn't it, to get revenge for years of things. But when we were thinking about what I could say, and I was talking to Brian and saying, you know, what am I allowed to say? what sort of things can I get away with? And basically he was saying, if it goes too bad, he's just not going to turn up, is what he said initially. And there was a few people in the room there as well. Earlier, well, a couple of weeks ago, we were at Jill Eshelby's retirement do. And at that, I was stood next to Brian whilst Carol Payne was delivering a speech. And it was fantastic, wasn't it? She went through all Jill's career before she came into the Youth Offending Service, and all the highlights of that career, and then all the highlights of her time in the Youth Offending Service. And I was stood next to Brian, and I said to him, I just whispered, I said, I'm going to do something like that for you. And I'm going to tell you his exact honest you fucking dead. I'm not turning up. Is that true, Brian? You might well blush. Yes, it's true. So I thought, all right, what the hell can I do now then? There's not really much else we can do, is there? But anyway, one part of Carol Payne's presentation for Jill was that Jill had got a Butler Trust commendation in the past, and she got that presented by Princess Anne, and Princess Anne had come up to Durham and had a visit round the Youth Offending Service in County Hall, and Jill had met her again there. And genuinely, this is true, Carol Payne had written to Princess Anne to say, and the people there will back me up on this, had written to Princess Anne to tell her Jill's retiring, and they got a lovely letter back from one of her, what do they call them, maids in waiting or whatever they call them, to sort of, you know, thank her for all her endeavours in youth justice and wish her all the best for the future. That's true, isn't it? Yeah? Okay, so I thought, hang on a minute, Kirkup's met Princess Anne loads of times. That looks like a good idea. And if you don't believe me, he's met Princess Anne loads of times, look. There's what that photo's taken from. There he is, 2011, 7 years ago. That's him there, look, that's Princess Anne. And he's saying, oh, I must tell you all about my allotment. I had a lovely allotment. And she's going, ah! The other one that I thought was quite funny, when you look at Rob's face. He hasn't got a clue who it is, has he? He's like, I didn't get in till 3 o'clock. Anyway, so Brian's met Princess Anne tons of times, and if you still don't believe me how many times he's met, this was just the other week. This is Brian again with Princess Anne, and this time he's saying to her, I've got a new allotment. My old allotment, now I'm getting a new one. Going in a kiss or something, I don't know what that's about. So I started thinking, Brian must be getting on really well with Princess Anne. He must know her really, really well. Because he's met her loads of times. And anyway, doing my usual, hang on, I'm just making sure I've got it right there. Doing my usual thing that I do when I occasionally come on a Saturday and root through all the desks of the managers, just to make sure that I can find out what they're getting up to and things like that. And I was rooting through Brian's desk, and I found he's got a little secret Princess Anne photo collection. So I reckon he's getting a big obsessed by it. But one of the photos is one he sent of himself to Princess Anne. It's not going to work. I love this one. You want to close your eyes, dude? I'm sorry.
I know, I've lived with it for a long time.
You've lived with these obsessions, haven't you? So anyway, I saw that and I thought, well, I'm definitely going to write to Princess Anne now and tell him old Kirkup's retired. So I did, and I got a letter back from the palace. There we go, look, it's all official. Headed notepaper, Buckingham Palace, London, it says on the top. But unfortunately, it didn't really go quite according to plan. But the letter came back from Commander J. Thompson from the Royal Protection Command. Anyway, it says, Dear Sir, I'll read it out. Dear Sir, your letter in respect to the retirement of Brian Kirkup. Many thanks for your correspondence informing the Princess Royal about the pending retirement of Brian Kirkup. Princess Royal wishes me to inform you that she's tolerated Mr. Kirkham's incessant wittering about his various allotments on numerous occasions over the last few years. On each occasion this has been unsolicited by the Princess Royal, and Mr. Kirkham has been unremitting in his droning on about the importance of crop rotation and high quality manure for significant periods of time that have resulted in Princess Anne running late in subsequent engagements on many occasions. It's not quite as planned, but anyway. In an attempt to alleviate this problem, the Princess Royal, I must inform you, in an attempt to alleviate this problem for the Princess Royal, I must inform you that on the 16th of March 2018, brackets, the day after her last experience, she sought and was granted a harassment exclusion order in respect of Mr. Kirkham in the London Magistrates Court. Continued correspondence concerning Mr. Kirkham will be considered a breach of this order. Sorry, Brian. Got it framed, put it on the living room wall or something. So I thought, bollocks, that's my plan. The presentation's gone up in smoke, what can I do now? So I remembered back to the presentation that Carol Payne had done for Jill, a bit about the history of Jill's career prior to joining the Youth Offending Service. So I thought that would be a useful thing to do. We'll have a look back in history. And I was absolutely surprised. This man is going to shock you from now on. He will. Look at his face. He will shock you, I'm telling you. For example, did you know that for many years, Brian was part of a comedy double act? A forerunner to Cannonball, it was Kirkham Ball. And they did lots of touring all around the country, pantomime the lot. I'll show you. I think we've got something from then. There we are, look. Kirkham Ball, 1942. That must have been the start of his career, shortly after leaving school or something. That aged very well, that art thing. But I had no idea about his background like this. And apparently it did really well. They toured all over the country, lots of pantomime opportunities. That one went on until 2018. Pantomime that one. I forgot to do that bit. But then the next bit, what he moved into, when that work dried up, I couldn't believe this. Watch, there he is. He took up ballroom dancing. And he came and goes, you never said.
That's me, by the way. That's me. On a Friday night. Yeah, that's me as well.
It's just amazing. I never had any idea. He kept his light under a bushel. Now, what happened though? Life moves into a bit of a sadder phase for Brian at this point. Because of the whole, I presume the hard, heavy touring, he was always away from home, eating too much, drinking. You'll find the drinking too much is a bit of a theme in Brian's life, but drinking too much, he put weight on and all sorts, and he really struggled. And he ended up, surprisingly enough, as part of a boxing double act in the circus. Hang on, there he is. Brian, the ravages of time have not been kind to him. But the good news is he came out of that and he ended up joining the Youth Offending Service, and it became a much happier time. Now, this bit's true, all of it's true. But Brian and Julie, his wife, started on the same day. Is that right?
Yes, we did.
In the Youth Offending Service, in similar jobs.
We were interviewed on the same day.
We were interviewed on the same day and got the job on the same. Started on the same day. And Julie very gracefully has handed me a photograph that she took of Brian on his first day in the yacht. There he is. A beautiful bonnet on and some flowers for his line manager. How about that? And then, I'm running out of steam now, Brian. Good.
Don't worry.
And then, from then on, life was sweet for Brian. It was brilliant, I guess. But I was trying to think, 18 years, it was 2000 when you started, wasn't it?
It was, 31st of January.
31st
Half past 8 in the morning.
Half past 8, there we are, look. Right eye and bushy tail. 8:30 in the morning, 31st of January, just over 18 years. And I was thinking, how can I summarise 18 years and my experiences of Brian as his colleague, line manager, all sorts of things? How can I summarise that? And I kind of settled on one word that I think encapsulates it all, really, those 18 years. and that's nightmare. In fact, 2 words, fucking nightmare. I mean, he never does anything you ask him to do. And to be honest, way too fond of a few bottles of Stella every lunchtime. I try to control it, but it's not worked. I've completely run out of steam now, Brian. I've nothing else to say now. I've finished. I stuck to my word though. I did say I wouldn't do anything serious and maudlin and soppy and all that kind of thing, so I've stuck to that. But you're not going to get away without no serious bit to it at all. Brian represents, in my opinion, all that's good about yachts. He's got an unshakable belief that children can change for the good if they're allowed meaningful opportunities to achieve the full potential. Brian has been and still is an outstanding colleague and manager, and I can confidently say that I speak on behalf of everybody in the room when I wish you a happy, healthy and hugely long retirement.
Hey.
There's no way on earth I can follow that. Crush it. Thank you ever so much. No, you hate it. What? Look, I know that I'm meant to say something funny, like Davis has done, really profound, so I will apologise in advance for not doing that. Because I can't think of anything funny, I just cannot follow it, right? But there are a few things that I do need to say, and I guess that 18 years, yeah, I've done quite a lot of different tasks within that time. I've managed YISPs, Community Safety Partnership, County-wide Manager, I've managed South Coast Management Team, and I've managed the delivery team for the last 4 years of those 18. And I look back on all of that time, and I can quite honestly say the last 4 years, they've been the maddest, but they've also been part of the highlights as well, because the challenges we've had, the work that we've achieved, all of the great things that people have done, the programs that they've been involved in, developing, piloting and running. It's been really interesting, dead exciting, and I'll always look back on all of that period with really fond memories. Lovely bunch of people, the whole service full of lovely people. And I think in the delivery team we've always tried to sort of try new things and push boundaries, and I could list a whole list of things that we have done. But something that sort of springs to mind, which reflects what Dave's just said about giving young people opportunities and creating chances for them, giving them something to grasp onto. I remember not so long ago we took a group of 7 of our young people into Aycliffe Secure Centre to play game of football. And the number of times that people said to me, oh, you can't do that, oh, it's far too risky. Getting 7 of our kids together in the first instance is risky in itself, but then taking them into Secure is even worse. So this Saturday morning came along, we got these kids together, we'd had them together a couple of times before then. We all pitched up outside Aycliffe Secure in this car park. Our lads all get out of these cars, they're standing around like they do, puffing on their faces, and see who can spit the most. We walked into the reception, and the first thing that happened was they all had to get searched. They all had to leave their phones, their tobacco, and God knows what else they had in their pockets, and you'd be amazed what 7 young offenders have in their pockets. And you could feel the tension building in them, they were getting a little bit hyped up, and I was thinking, everyone was telling me, and they're telling me right away, what am I doing here? We went into the corridor, and they locked the door behind us, opened another door, went through that, locked the one behind us, opened another, and the tension was building. Anyhow, we got onto this football field, and there's all these kids from Aycliffe Secure in their tracksuits and their posh football gear, posh football boots, and there's our lot in scraggy old tracksuit bottoms with fag burns on them, and all God knows what else on them. Anyhow, we got warmed up, and you could see their chest was sticking out, they were bristling, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a nightmare. And the first 5 seconds of the game, I remember this, Liam Facey went flying into one of these lads from the Aycliffe team and took him right out, his leg was up here somewhere. And all these kids from Aycliffe converged on Liam, and I thought, oh, this is just good. And the next thing that happened, Liam Facey stood up, pulled him up, he says, soz mates.
Oh.
And the game from there on was played in a brilliant spirit, and it just goes to show that I think if you give the kids the opportunity, we sometimes think they come to us with all these risk factors attached to them, and yeah, they do present with challenges and problems, but they spent an hour and a half in there and they responded really positively, and I think we've got loads of examples across the services where, given the kids the right opportunity, they will respond. So I think one message I need to leave you with is don't give up on them, because I think we need to continue to do that. I do need to say some thank yous. I need to say thank you to everybody for coming and providing lovely food. It's really appreciated, so thank you. Thanks to all of those who were able to get up on Friday night. My sore head will testify that I had a good time this morning. So again, thank you. Thanks for all that you've done over the years for us. I need to thank my management colleagues. Over the last 4 years especially, you've been very supportive, and I don't think I could have done it without you. Your support and your friendship has been really valued. But I do need to thank specifically the delivery team, because I think you've put up with some things that, you know, have not been easy to deal with. We've worked with some difficult young people. You've turned out every Saturday, you've turned out every bank holiday, you work late into the night, some of you have done Sundays, you're having to work with some difficult kids for 3-4 hours at any one go, and it's not easy. And I know you've come to me and you've had your whinges, and I think you've been entitled to your whinges, but you always pull your socks up and you always knuckle down and you always get on with it. And I can't thank you enough, because it's made my job a hell of a lot easier. When I needed you to come up with the goods, you've always come up with the goods, and I can't thank you enough for that. You've actually been brilliant, so thank you. I guess there's two special thanks that I need to say as well, and the first one is to Dave. Very special thanks to Dave. Absolutely.
I'll take back
Over those 18 years, Dave has probably been my line manager for the bulk of that time, and he's always allowed me to do things where we've sort of, I feel, stretched the boundaries, like taking kids into Aycliffe, attempting to do the coast to coast with a group of young people. We've taken kids sea fishing, we go to the Sage, we have been allowed to buy things like polytunnels, we've been buying music equipment, we've done things that are a bit out of the box really, and Dave's always supported and encouraged that. And his mentoring and support has been absolutely brilliant, so I can't thank you enough, Dave.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the other person I need to thank especially is Lynn, because Lynn has had to put up with me, and Lynn has worked very closely with me for the last 4 years, and I couldn't have done it without you, Lynn.
Thank you.
We developed a good working relationship. We sometimes close the door and swear quite a lot. But at the end of the day, you've been there all the time, and you sort of calm me down, and vice versa. Because sometimes we need calming down. But it's been a pleasure working with you, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure there are other people I'm meant to thank, and I'm scared to sort of forget somebody, but if there is, you know who you are. But all of you, thank you ever so much. I recently just watched the Winter Olympics, and I saw this skier who just come down this slalom run on his skis, and he just won a medal. The commentator went up to me and said, "Oh, well done, Nixon, it's da 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 da." And this guy said, I want to announce that I'm finishing my career and I want to stop. And he said, "What were you doing that for? You're just at the peak of it." Not that I'm at the peak of mine. I said, "You're at the peak of it." And he said, "Yeah, I know, but I want to go before the lights go out and I run into a tree." And my lights haven't quite gone out.
Better bloody Norwich.
Ever and ever closer. So I think it's time to sort of stop, pull out and go, and I'll just look back on everything with fond memories. So thank you very much to everybody.